Hi. Hello, beautiful soul. Look at it, someone I haven't seen in a while. I'm so excited. So now real talk. My intention with this Lion Gate, so this Lion Gate portal, I do it every year. And I want to start by saying that 888 itself, that number itself, saying that we are August 8, 2024, is a man-made number. Okay, so we can all agree that the calendar is man-made. It's not following the moon. It's not following anything. However, two things. We have chosen as a soul to come in this calendar. So we chose to come in a reality where certain numbers look a certain way and have a certain meaning. So we have chosen, regardless of what's happening in nature, to come 20 years, 24 years, 2024 years after this calendar was put in place. And we have chosen to come in this lifetime. So these numbers, these dates are important to me and to you. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is this idea of not just the Lion Gate. I know a lot of people are excited about the Lion Gate, but what I'm really excited about is Sirius. Sirius is our spiritual sun. And now in the cosmos, regardless of the date, if you're watching me and you live in Australia or you live 12 hours behind, or it doesn't matter, right now in the cosmos, there is a certain alignment. And one of the things that I love about the spiritual sun is two things. It shines 23 times brighter than our regular sun. So we're going to talk about it a little bit from a scientific perspective. All of you here heard of vitamin D, correct? And this is one of the benefits of the sun. So some of us who live in Michigan, I have a few Michiganders here. We don't get much sun and we feel it. We feel it in our nervous system. And there is no amount of vitamin D that we can take in a bottle that can replicate the sun. I think all of you here who have taken vitamin D before, you may feel a little bit better, but you would never feel at the same level that if you were in the Caribbean or in Florida or somewhere that's sunny. Is that fair? For everyone has experienced that. Because actually vitamin D is only one vitamin of 300,000 vitamins of the sun. Meaning that this is the only one that was studied, but we're missing out of over 999 other nutrients. Why is the sun so important? Because we also helps us with our circadian rhythm. Everyone here have heard of the circadian rhythm, right? And you probably have heard, and if you follow me on Instagram, you've heard me debunk that a few times. Do this at a certain time, eat this at a certain time, do this at a certain time, and this is following your circadian rhythm. I don't believe in a circadian rhythm that is clock-made, that is man-made. I believe in a circadian rhythm that is sun and nature-made. Nature, Mother Nature, is a feminine energy. We call it Mother Nature for a reason in almost all languages. And if you chose here, all of you that joined here today are women. If you chose to be in a woman's body, meaning your hormones, your pineal gland, are dependent on the sun. So every little shift of the sun, what is happening, how it activates your adrenals, how it tells your cortisol what to do, how it tells your pancreas what to do, is all related to the sun. So imagine there is another sun 23 times more powerful than that. And what I love about it is that it's that spiritual sun, meaning it's connecting you to, in my opinion, all of the antidotes to your pain. Every single person who wrote something today, you are here because there is a pain point. Even if you are just curious, there is a pain point. And the reason I fully believe that why we are stuck in pain is because we are not connected to that soul. We're not connected to, let's talk about the sun, to our power. The sun is both suns that we're going to be channeling today are the batteries, and you have the same one in your body. Just like that spiritual sun, and that sun has that battery type of charging and power energy that allows you to feel alive, to get going. We have scientifically, if you desiccate us, we have nerve endings at a specific spot. I spoke about the pineal gland. We talk about the heart, you know how many nerves ending, and we're going to talk about the solar plexus, and we're going to talk about the womb. So the solar plexus, regardless if you know about chakras or not, if you look at it right here, it's right here. If you desiccate us, we have nerve concentration right here. That just by being in the sun helps us digest. Just think of that. That if you are eating after a certain time and you don't have that connection with your nervous system, your body does not know to secrete a certain enzyme. It doesn't know how to act. The other thing that this part of the body does is, I'm going to have everyone here put their hand over it, if it's safe for you to do so. And I want you to take a deep breath in. And I want you to tell me, does your hand expand? Does it get pushed out? Or does it get squeezed in? Are you sucking in when you breathe in? Or are you opening up? For every single person here that's sucked it in, you can feel literally that your rib cage is closing over the organs there, so your digestion and all your liver and all of these things, but also the vagus nerve. You have a nerve coming here that's in control of your autonomic nervous system. And this is what we're going to dive into today, is explain how your autonomic nervous system and where you are at can contribute to all of your symptoms. You've heard me speak or saw me speak about the threat zone and the zone of presence. Threat zone is everything that I have even experienced through my own health journey. Is the constipation, is PCOS, is infertility issues, is hormone issues, is trauma, is depression, is anxiety, is patterns. I always used to tell women, you don't have a type. If you're having a problem in your relationship, you don't have a type. You have a pattern that's repeating itself. And this is all coming from a nervous system that is not in that zone of presence. Before I dive into this, I want to ask everyone if they heard of fight or flight, parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. Does that make sense for everyone? Is anyone here who's never heard of that? Perfect. And this is when it becomes interesting, because everyone brings it at these two things. You're either in fight or flight, or you are in parasympathetic. And actually, that's not true. There is 3 zones. And I'm going to share this with you here for a second. I'm going to be switching gears here a little bit. Okay. There you go. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to show you this. I'm going to share this with you, but I need to be muted here. Okay. Muted. Yeah. Okay. We don't want that. That doesn't sound good. And all here. Perfect. So let me show you this because I want to explain what this is and why this is important. Can everyone see the screen? Yes. Yes. Can you see it? Perfect. So if you can see it, there is a state of hyper arousal, state of zone, what they call zone of tolerance. I didn't change it on purpose because that's not my wording. I didn't do this research. And at the very bottom, you have the hypo arousal. So this is what most people, the hyper and hypo is what people would say, this is your fight or flight. That will be hyper and you are in hypo. Everyone ignores that there is something called the zone of presence or the zone of tolerance. And I'm going to explain this as I'm going to talk to you right now. So if I am in hyper, let's use it in the form of tempo. If I start talking really fast and I'm talking like that, if you're eating at the same time and I'm talking to you like that, you are going to eat a little bit faster. If you were in a place and there is a rave or house music playing, you will be eating much faster. And if you are in that state of hypo, I will be speaking slower. And I will be talking much more slow when the tempo is slower, but also in your body. So know that your body is responding to the tempo outside of you. So if you meet people that you think are slower, they are not necessarily calmer. That's the confusion that we make. Someone that speaks really slow, that's really calm, we think that they are just calmer, but this is not necessarily true. Because there is two states I want to talk about, the hyper, and in the hypo, there is the fawn and the freeze. And in the hyper, there is the flight and fight. These two responses, fight or flight, or fawn or freeze, both of them are respond to a threat. So even when you go hypo, even when you go super slow, even if you find someone who is very calm, they are still responding to a threat. So freeze means shutting down because I think that it's not safe for me to speak. It's not safe for me to respond. It's not safe for me to even have a bowel movement. Hello, constipation. In nature, think about it. If we have a bowel movement in nature and we walk away, our stool can tell our predator what we ate, where we have been, where we hang out. So if we think that our environment is not safe and we have predators around us, we can shut down our system to a point that we don't even have a bowel movement. That's where the bloating and so many of the GI tract would happen, issues would happen. But I can also cut down so much that I don't think it's safe for me to create. And when I say create life, fertility, create dreams, manifesting, create money, lack mentality. These are all coming from a hypo state. These are coming from a place when you think you're freezing. You stop being in action. You stop being in your power. And then there is the other one that's called fawn, which is not talked enough about, but it's so important for women. Fawn is when you recognize the red flags. You know someone is a threat, but you turn into Stockholm syndrome. You people please, you please that pattern, you please that person, you please the behavior, because it's the only thing that you think you know and that can keep you safe. Fun is very important, and I want to explain it so much because that is usually what is behind a lot of eating disorders. This is where a lot of people, especially women, start losing their power and lose hope because they think they are the problem. I know better, I hear. I know better. I don't understand. I know I shouldn't be doing this. I know I shouldn't be eating that. I know I shouldn't be. I know you gave me a program and I should follow it. I know all of these things. But I can't stop the behavior. I know it's not good for me, but I can't stop the behavior. And that's when you will go to a doctor and be like, well, just exercise more, do this less, do this. And I'm like, oh, thank you, Captain Obvious. Like I could not have figured it out myself. But this is a fun behavior. When you know someone or something is bad for you, but you ignore the red flags and you people please because it's the only thing that you think can keep you safe. Is the fun part clear? This is very important. Please, if it's not clear for you, write it down for me so we can go over it over the Q&A. I want to talk about the fight or flight. Everyone knows about it, but I feel like fawn or freeze is not spoken about enough, especially for women. Women tends to close down. We go into hyper mode or cortisol spike in short period, but we tend to not go back into the zone of presence. We tend to go down to hypo. That's what I would hear. I will wake up and I would have so much adrenaline, or I'm gonna do intermittent fasting. I'm not hungry in the morning, and you're actually running on cortisol because you think your environment is not safe. So anytime you are in those two states, and I can give you examples, so much example of that, you're not in the zones of presence. He calls it the zone of tolerance. I call it the zone of presence for a reason, because as I was talking before some of you came in, this anxiety does. Anxiety and depression, which is two opposite of the same thing. It's not feeling safe and not being, it's trying to escape the presence because the present feels too much. So when you go into anxiety, you try to project into the future and try to control that future in an attempt, in an illusion to actually get into proactive mode. You feel so unsafe right now that you try to go into the future and start worrying about the future. Or you feel so unsafe right now that being with yourself feels like a huge void and feels vulnerable. This is one of the most important things, step in healing that we don't talk about, is that when we start healing and we ask you to be in that zone of presence and connect to yourself and do all of these things, but yourself feels vacant. It feels void. You don't know who that self is. And telling you to trust and surrender feels almost like surrendering, like white flag surrendering. It feels like almost giving up because you don't know what to do, because it feels extremely vulnerable to look at the future, and between you and the future, there is nothing, just surrender. There is no action. There is nothing to worry about. Can everyone relate to this? Because I know that was something that I went through and I didn't understand. It called it self-sabotage and they call it all these things. And I knew it wasn't either. Like I wasn't self-sabotaging. I needed to stay occupied, almost like, vacant and occupied. I needed to stay busy in that state. I needed something to keep me busy so I feel like I'm doing something, because I felt too vulnerable being present. Second, the depression, I call depression, the opposite of depression is expression. So when you don't feel safe to express, does that make sense? When I don't give myself, I don't feel safe to express myself through speaking up, through loving. They told me I'm not worthy, and we can talk about the soul wound another day. But I have all of these things that I'm not worthy to speak up, to express myself, to create. Then there is all of this life force stagnant in me. And that we start feeling the pressure. The opposite of feeling under pressure is expression, is being in our power. And that's why I'm saying all of these things. I'm using these words because that's what the Lionsgate energy is for, is to come and teach us about the difference between pain and being in our power. So if any of you have felt pain before, let me put this in slideshow so it's easier for everyone. That has any of you here look at this, and I'm saying praise for a reason. So if you have felt pain before, pressure, needing praise, you are in that proving energy. You are in that proxination energy. You are in that parasitic energy. Tell me if any of you have felt the things that I am showing in the left side. Who is resonating with that? I think Anjula, let me see if I can. More people, keep your hands up if this is you. Perfect. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And the other one, the opposite of that, we're going to get to this in a second, is this, is being in a state of power, pleasure, purpose, pride, progress, being present, and the possibilities. And why I said pain versus power? Because in my journey, in my health journey, and what I see with a lot of my patients, symptoms, pain, take our power away. And the more you start, you do a protocol, the more you go seeking for answers. If you're not in that zone of presence, the chances of something working are very slim. Of course, Alessandra, you can be on and off on both sides. That's very true. What we want to do is get you more into the right side, more so in that side. So I want to talk again about this. If your body, you know how I said earlier, I'm going to use the constipation as an example. You're in hypo state, your body freezes, shuts down. You shut down from receiving, and I used the example like you're not open, right? You're closed down. You're closed down from receiving health, receiving healing, receiving abundance, receiving relationship, receiving love. You're not in that receiving state. So here I am. Let's say I have a pain point, looking at every therapist, going to every healer, doing all of the meditations, doing all of the protocols, and nothing is working. My constipation, I'm going to talk about my constipation. And I think the two main things that it took me forever, took me longer than any of my patients combined, is my history with constipation and my history with bulimia, like, and anorexia on and off. I did not, like, I was going to lose my fucking shit. Like, no, I'm not even kidding. Like, I was like, I don't care if someone, like, takes over my body. Like, can someone take over my body and fix this? Because I am running out of solutions. I don't know what to do anymore. I've done all of the things, all of the therapies, all of the hypnosis, all of the EMDR. I removed parasites, I removed mold. I learned how to remove this in other people. I'm like, what do I need to do? Like, this is not possible. And that amount of pain made me feel so powerless. And I was so much in the healing. Like, I knew, like, I was already a practitioner. I already knew so much that I'm like, why? And because I kept on thinking, nothing is working. I would literally, and again, tomorrow morning, I'm not going to have a bowel movement. Like, I went in, and I'm like, why are you in the feet? And then I would be hard on myself. Why are you in the feet mode? Why are you playing victim mentality? You can't think like that. You need to blah, blah, blah. And then there's people that tell you when you manifest is what your intention goes, is what you create.
And I was just about to lose it. It wasn't until literally I took my power away, and it didn't happen overnight. And there is no magical solutions. And I'm going to say it again because I'm going to make a live about it. I shared something this morning about a patient of mine, literally during the call, her body shrank. Like she took the picture for the call for me to see that her body was like her parts of her stomach was bulging. And then we did the session. And at the end of the session, she goes, I can't, like, I'm still wanting to go to the bathroom. Let me take a picture because this is insane. Like I literally lost weight within an hour. It didn't take an hour. It took sessions and sessions and sessions and sessions of us working on this. But something today on Lionsgate, aha, for her. And for me, it was the same thing. Like all of the things that I was doing. And then one day, everything clicked. And I didn't feel the need to binge and eat. I didn't feel the need to fast for 3 days to make up for that. I didn't feel the need to take 3 supplements and a half in order to have a bowel movement. But none of that works until your body feels it's safe enough to do so. Why? And that's what I wanted to do to get you to. Is here. Can everyone see this? It says how stress affects your body. And these are all of the systems then can get shut down when you're not in the zone of presence. Because when you are not in the zone of presence, what your body cares about is survival. So you cannot absorb nutrients. You can tell me I'm in 26 supplements and I'm still low on calcium. It's because you are not absorbing. You can take all of the things. You can do all of the things. You can do all of the IVF. If your body, if your uterus, if your womb doesn't feel safe to receive, if it's shut down, it's not going to welcome life to a threat zone. If you feel like you are in a threat zone at all time, you are not going to be able to create that life, to create that dream reality, which is why we were talking to with a beautiful soul at the beginning of the call. She said, I was writing down trying to manifest. And I was like, amazing. But the problem that I have with manifestation is in order to manifest, 2 things happen. If you're not in that state of safety first, it doesn't matter. And what also does, it takes you out of the zone of presence. Now you are in the future, hoping something will happen, working really hard, keeping busy, trying to bring it in or attract it, or whatever verbiage we use in the holistic realm. But all of these things can actually take your power away. Anything that you're doing that you think is more powerful than you, and that is my goal with this meditation today, with this healing today, is bring you to the zone, to the center of who you are. If you know, and I know a lot of people here know what that looks like and feel like, to connect to your soul. If you can feel that you have a soul and you can connect to it, even if it's for 30 seconds, you have understood what the zone of presence is. And instead of at the beginning to be just 30 seconds, we want to increase this to 10 minutes. We want to increase this. We want to increase that window of tolerance. We want to increase that zone of presence. Because the more we increase it, when life happens, and it's going to happen, and we go out of it, our default mode is now the inside of it, is that zone of presence. If I go back to this, is that this is not, we stay here the longest amount of time. And if anything, there is a threat, it's short-lived, and we can go in that hyper state and then be able to calm down. And if we shut down, once the threat moves on, we can go back into that zone of presence. So the key here, if you want to take away from anything, if you've been stuck in anything, look at your day, literally and see how much of your day do you spend in a zone of presence. And meditation to manifest the future does not count. How often per day do you feel like you are in your body? You are present. You are in yourself. Because what does that do? Let me show you this. The body is no longer in fight or flight. All of these issues can start healing. Because the body starts creating these problems just to tell you. Yes, Anjula, the here and now, I'm going to take questions and I'm going to explain what that is. And I'm actually going to do an exercise together before the meditation to feel what zone of presence feel like. So there is that. There is the other thing I want to show you here is if you look at every point here, if you look at these points, so let's imagine there is one here. They're all corresponding to chakras. So all of these things, if you have a symptom, your body symptom is your body language. Look at where your symptom is because it's telling you where the imbalance is hitting you. Where are you disconnected? So that is why I have spent all this time explaining when you're out of your body, because I want to tell you that your body is actually extremely powerful. The pain point is not the default mode of your body. Power is the default mode of your body. So I'm going to give you an example. Yes, ma'am, I will show you how to be present. So I think some of you heard me say this before, so bear with me. If I cut myself right now, this scar, if I do nothing and I live in a healthy environment, if this is a safe zone for my body, it would heal itself. I need to do nothing. It would send a blood flow and lymph to clean it up. It would start creating the new collagen to heal it and close it. It would even create a scab. It would literally create its own Band-Aid. I need to do nothing. I don't need to control it. I don't need to be like, oh, what is this doing? Is my T cells functioning? Is it sending the blood flow? Is the collagen working? I don't need to control anything. I don't need to meditate on it. I need to do nothing. My body will do it. It knows exactly what to do. The only reason why this wound would not heal if there is something interfering with the healing process. Like an infection, like a parasite, like dirt, like a bacteria. If something comes and interfere with the cut, that's the only time it goes out of balance. And the body then starts sending all of the threat signals. Inflammation, fever, it swells up, it becomes hot. All of you know this analogy, right? You all have experienced through you or through your child that they have a cut and it's not healing properly, there is a reaction. It's true for every single thing in your life. Every single thing. You are here, and I truly believe this. You are here to reach your full potential. For all, whatever that means, whatever that looks like for you. Whatever that looks like for you, you are here to reach your full potential. We come here on earth for 3 reasons: to experience our human experience at the fullest. We come here to help our soul grow, and we come here to ascend and help the consciousness of the collective rise. That's what we're here for. And we came fully equipped, the same way your body is fully equipped to heal a wound. You have everything in you. You don't need to be doing anything. You don't need to be controlling anything for that to happen. All you need to do for, I don't know, literally, not be touching it, not to be picking at the scab, not be doing any of that. So if things in your life right now are not going the way you want them to go, it's because something is interfering with your zone of presence. And that's what I call the root cause. And that is part of, if there is one homework for you to do, is experience two things. We're going to do it together, experience how being in the zone of presence feel like. We're going to do it for a few minutes, and then we're going to do it for a whole 40 minutes. So you're going to have a whole activation with the healing, and you're going to be recorded and you can take it home. But we're going to do it together shortly. And you can see how it feels like to be outside of that and in that. And once, for the next month, start paying attention to what type of things take you out of that zone of presence, which what I call the triggers. If you can start naming the triggers, you have found the root cause. And it's not about avoiding the triggers. It's understanding what's behind those triggers. What is the wounds behind them that you're here to heal? I am going to stop this for a second, just to see, I spoke at you guys for 40 minutes. So we're going to pause that. And I am going to take any questions. So do you have any questions? Please let me know. So who has a question? Anyone has a question? No, my love, you're not so fucked up. So I don't see. Is anyone's hand? No one has a question? You guys can keep on going? Sure. Oh, you do? Okay, go for it.
Just a quick question. So when we were born, we were in the prison zone. What's the main reason on the root or the root cause that got us out of the natural presence in the zone? Is it the environment that we were around? Is it our parents? Is it the thoughts that came into ourselves? Is it programming for the first 7 years? What happened?
It could be all of the above. It's usually when you are, like I said, we come here as a soul for 3 reasons. We come here to experience the human experience and all of the things that we can't experience if we don't have a body. Everything I wrote down, pleasure, potential, all of these things is because we want to come and experience them. The second one will be to help our soul grow. So your soul comes with an agenda. It's already whole and complete. And this is more of a soul wound thing. I think I've spoken to you about this, Vianne, before. Like this is more of a soul wound thing. And this is not what we're going to do today. But to me, the soul wound is like us coming here on vacation. So imagine that you have everything you need in life, everything. And you're like, last time when I went to the Caribbean, I forgot to scuba dive. So this time I'm going to take a trip to Aruba and pick the scuba diving package. So you have an agenda. There is something that you want as a soul to come and experience. But you come to Aruba and you forget that you chose to do scuba diving. And then you don't understand why someone is making you put your head underwater. And you're kicking and screaming. And you're like, I don't understand. It's so unfair. There is these people sitting in there, tanning, and I am here and I'm underwater. And you're having all of this kicking and screaming. This is because this is the misalignment when you're not connected to the intuition, when you're not connected to what feels right. When you are out of yourself, you cannot see what your soul has already chosen. So it's very important because that's why today we're going to work on the throat chakra, the third eye, the heart, the solar plexus, and the womb. Because when you're not connected to your intuition, even things that are happening for you, you can't trust that because you are in that fight or flight. What can take you from that fight or flight? Many things. Very first one, ancestral. So if your mother and your ancestry come from a zone of threat, come from a threat zone, they're going to prepare you for a threat zone. A baby, third generation from a war zone is not going to grow up with, is not going to be born with the same nervous system as someone who is born growing up in like an island and with no stress at all. So there is a predisposition, but this predisposition is also part of your, what you chose as a soul to come and heal. So it's not a victim thing. It's really, you chose that lineage to come and heal it and come and heal something. The second time when these things get activated is us as kids. When we are born as kids, we're not born in the zone of presence. We're not at all. No, we're actually super scared. We come out and we depend 100% on our caregiver. Please keep me safe. Please protect me. Please love me. Please see me. Please hear me. These are the 5 inner child activation. Is that you have that immediate need for safety. You don't know how to put it to yourself. And if you have caregivers that don't know how to be in the zone of presence, then you never learn. Or worse, you learn that certain things are a threat. Oh, I spoke up and my mom yelled at me, so I shouldn't speak again. That's hypo state. Or I'm a family of 8, and if I'm not yelling over everyone, no one listens to me. So I'm in the hyper state, over talking, overdoing in order for me to be heard. So we're not born in a zone of presence. We are born in a soul that comes in a human experience, wanting to be taught how to be in that zone of presence. Okay?
As if it's the ultimate purpose of the soul to learn how to be in the present.
Absolutely. That's where we reach our potential. Exactly. Our ultimate, I call it, if there is a soul line, our ultimate thing will be to, at first we're like so off it, so sometimes we cross it, and then we become closer and closer to it. And actually the alignment where we say, I want to be aligned. Someone asked me yesterday, is your goal to be healed? And I'm like, no, my goal is not to be healed. My goal is to be the more and more aligned. The goal is to stay in that zone of presence the more as I can. Even when horrible things happen, I can still stay in that zone of presence. I mean, I will freak out, but I'm not going to freak out for 3 months. I may freak out for a few days, give myself that pity party, and then move back to that zone of presence and go back into that state of trust. Because that's where I can change my reality. That's when I can know what is the biggest lesson here. Okay? Good question. And Julia, you had a question.
I do. I just wanted to know, okay, so hyper arousal state is fight or flight when, like you're saying, like we're overstimulated or overactive, like how you said the kid is screaming. And then, so you're saying for women, we automatically eventually just go, if we don't deal with it, we automatically go to the hypo stage?
It's for men and women. I think it's true for both. I just feel like I see a lot of women going to the fawn stage. I don't see as many men going to the fawn stage. I've seen men depressed. I've seen men shut down. Impotency, men that that have ED, that's a form of being in that hypo stage. So I think it's true for both. I don't think it's just for women.
Okay. But is that what usually happens? Like if you don't get, like, because you can't be hyper all the time. So if you're not in present, then you just usually fall into hypo?
So yes, and what I see with a lot of women, actually certain systems will collapse and others will stay in hyper. So that's what usually would happen. So like literally the lower parts of the body usually tend to shut down, meaning no more period or constipation or all of these issues. So the lower chakras, all the feminine energy are going to shut down. And then everything that is more masculine doing and action is going to go into hyper. Racing thoughts, can't shut up my mind, all of these worry, thyroid issues, cyst, overgrowth of things, weight gain. So there is what would happen is there is a compensation that would happen that certain will stay in hyper and get stuck in hyper, and some will get stuck in hypo.
And then when we were talking about presence, I don't know if you're going to touch on that, but that's just like being here now and not in your mind. Is that what you mean when you're saying be present? Or is
So
it just a
here,
state of calm?
it is a state of, it feels everything sits still. And it's not, it's in the sense, and we will experience it together, I promise.
Okay.
But there
Okay.
is that moment when you're not, it's in the here and now, but not in the forced here and now. Because
Okay.
one thing I'm
Okay.
going to tell you, try to be here and now. I never understood what that meant when people told me this. Like I've
Yeah.
literally been in a retreat and they were like, be present. And I'm like, okay, whatever that means. But what it means, the zone of presence, is actually, you can feel it in your body that you're safe. That your body is not like, that's what I call it, that buzziness. Like your
Yeah.
brain is not like, what now? What should I think? What should I do? What that thing? Or completely like I'm gonna fall asleep, or I can't. It's like you can't just be. And it's not something that is to explain. That's why because I didn't resonate with that. When people explain it to me, I never got it. I never understood it.
Be-
It had something that I had to experience and then go, oh, yeah, this last 20 minutes, nothing else was happening besides that soul, mind, body connection. And in
Yeah.
everyday life, yes, I can be thinking about my kids and my patient, all of these things, but I'm not pulled in all the direction. I'm not leaking energy. I'm not giving my power away to all of these things. I am present. I feel like my energy is contained. And fun fact, I'm going on tangents here, so bear with me. But the biggest thing about eating disorders and snacking and eating late is because it's the fastest way to go back to our body. So when energy is dispersed, we want to eat something to actually ground ourselves. So it's a sign of not feeling safe.
Okay, because I'm either hyper or hypo. The middle one is a little bit beyond me because I can resonate with the other two
Yeah,
very much so, just not the middle. Okay, thank you.
you're very welcome. Jill, hi, love.
Hi.
Hi.
So to piggyback off of what Angela was saying, you've got your hyper and then your hypo. Going off, I guess, just my personal journey with both of those, can you be, I'm trying to figure out how to say this. So if you're hyper, you said that a lot of times you see that people will drop down to hypo. Would that be more of a situational thing? Can you be both at the same time and maybe not realize that you're hypo over like when you were saying, I might freak out for a few days and then go to, being in the zone of presence. But if you tend to freak out for a while and maybe this issue just drags on, do you replace that with something else to be hyper and then you're in hypo with that specific one? Am I understanding this, or
Yeah.
am I saying it
So
correctly?
yeah, I got you. So one of the
Okay.
things that I told her, and I'm sending to everyone again, you can be both at the same time. And that's, so you can literally be both. So a part of you, like what I call the higher chakras, will go into that buzziness, like your mind is going to start racing and all of this thoughts and hyper focusing and not being able to focus and all of these things. And other parts of your body would shut down. Like you can start being constipated, you can start being bloated, your period
it.
start becoming late. So other cramping, your legs start feeling heavy. So you can start having, both of them can be happening at the same time to body as a way to compensate, because it's
Yeah.
trying, like the body's always trying to balance itself. So that could be happening. It's almost literally physically sending more energy to the brain
Yeah.
and shutting down other systems. Okay. So that's what I showed even here, like in one of the slides, when I saw some system that literally shut down when other ones are over hyper. Now, something that I know that wasn't your question, but I'm going to address it. When we are stuck, when we don't know what that zone of presence, the zone of presence becomes something that actually we don't know what it is and we're not familiar with it, and it can feel very vulnerable. That's why I started the call like that you can feel extremely vulnerable to be in that zone of presence. Give me 1 second. And what happens, if I can do this right, what happens is at certain time, you need that buzziness. You start becoming addicted to the cortisol, to the stress hormone. It's a real thing.
Mhm.
So even when the threat goes away, we create new threats because it gives us the illusion, and you have the recording, so you'll be able to watch it again. That's what I started with, is that it's not always about a real threat or a real concern, is that we don't know what to do with ourselves anymore. That feels extremely vulnerable. So we want to seek something that makes us feel busy. And that's why I call it that buzziness. That's why I call it that vacantness. That void is too much to bear, that we prefer anything than that state of void, because that doesn't feel safe. And one thing I'm going to touch on, and I'm going to read some of the questions, is the healing community talks so much about self-care. I think if you're a woman, you've had someone tell you need self-care, you need self-care, you need self-care. And women, especially men and women, but women especially need community care. We are not meant to do this alone. Like we sink, for God's sake. Our periods sink because we are meant to get pregnant together so we can breastfeed each other's kid. We are meant to do certain things at the same time so our kids are in the same age. We are not meant to do this alone. We're not meant to go through menopause alone. We're not meant to have our first period alone. We're not meant to have our first child or second or third or fourth alone. We're not meant to do this alone, because we are relying on someone else's zone of presence to bring us back, to hold the fort for us when we're freaking out, so we know we have somewhere to land in and it doesn't feel void. And I think the biggest issue, why I'm doing these circles, why I'm creating these spaces, because I feel like, especially in North America, especially here more than any other culture, we are finding self-care as a solution when it's not what women need. Women need community care. We know it in our blueprint. And that's what sometimes we would even do. Like we will seek a healer, we will seek a group of healers, we will seek going back to, because we are needing that journey. Yeah, Teresa, this, let me know, remind me of this. I'm holding a womb healing circle only for women who've had a bad postpartum, because not only did I have, I mean, I'm not gonna call it bad, but my pregnancy and my postpartum, I felt so alone. And I feel like the amount of grief that we don't talk about that. We don't talk about the amount of what women are feeling, of what they may have feel they missed out in their pregnancy, in their postpartum, because they were not supported. So if anyone is interested in that womb healing, I will facilitate a womb healing just for women who are grieving their pregnancies and postpartum. Let me know.
Yeah,
Let
I
me
was
know.
just gonna say, like when you were saying like the whole like we're meant to do it together, especially in North America, somebody put it so clearly that they were like, we live in a culture that we have to buy our village. Like our parents don't want to be involved. They feel like it's a burden to like they've already done the children. They don't need to be there for their grandchildren. Like aunts and uncles aren't all present anymore. And so it's like you have to buy your maid, you have to buy your childcare, you have to buy, and seeing that was like the most validating thing postpartum, because I'd never realized how much we needed a village and how much we don't have one here.
Oh, absolutely. And what that also means for women is that we miss out on the rite of passages. I'm completely going off track here, so I'm sorry, but women in our, we have rites of passages. Our first period, something opens in our body, a portal opens, and then every period that happens within our circle, it open a portal and close, it open a portal and then it close. Then we have a big one with the pregnancies, a big and then we need a village to help us close it. We're the only in North America that don't do the what we call the baja, or like the wrapping with the ceremony and stuff like that of the womb, because the womb needs to close the portal. Same thing for menopause. How many go through menopause alone? That's insane. Like that's literally insane. There is other cultures that do a ceremony and help women through 5 years of it, and there is a whole or ritual. It doesn't matter what's in it. It's just the womb is rite of passage is being honored. So what happens? We never go through into womanhood. Like in daughter, and in daughter archetype, which for people who are here from the goddess activation, I'm sorry, I know we just did this, but the goddess, the daughter archetype is the archetype when I'm not in my authority. My parents have authority. So I'm never in my power. To going back to today's topic, that is a trauma by itself. A woman who's never had that village, who has never had the rite of passage, may think of her feminine energy as immature. And you are not in your power. You're not in your authority. You're still waiting for figures of authority, society, social media, parents, whatever, to live in your potential, to do all of these things. This is a direct consequence from not doing this rite of passages that we think are just like decorative, like that, they're just like ornaments. They're not ornaments, they're essential. So thank you so much for bringing that up, Teresa. I think not only I think we need to buy the village, but unfortunately it's not done well because we don't feel held, we don't feel supported, and we don't feel in our power. I focus so much on the hyperarousal that I never considered that I could be dealing with both at the same time. Amazing. This is what this call is for. Let me read more of this. Let me see if I haven't missed anything. Oprah should be alone. When I get that buzzing, I'm just start zoning into my phone, like scrolling or yeah. This all that behavior we can like you can tell even from the behavior. You either need to or scroll or like you need to do something because you don't know what to do with that energy. It sounds like what people call bipolar as well. Yeah, there is some stage where it could be that extreme of that when you're like completely having almost two different personalities depending on where you're going. For a few months, I've been dealing with increased anxiety, sensation of tingling in heat and legs. Which chakra root cause do you think that could be causing this? Great question. So tingling, I'm going to explain. You are in your chakra. Let me share it again. Let me share the screen. If you look at the chakras, that will be solar plexus. And this is for everyone to know. I know some of you don't care, but that's fine. The solar plexus is what's attached to the nervous system. That's why I hint why I'm doing the Lion's Gate power and connecting it to the zone of safety. It's because it's related to the nervous system. So this portal is about the nervous system. This tingling sensation and the anxiety is solar plexus is here. And solar plexus is also related to our adrenals, which is in the back. And adrenals is literally when our inner child doesn't and goes into buzzing mode. So when you say which chakra, what I would look for you, Stephanie, is feel what is your inner child? Why is it freaking out? So I would treat all three. So if you have address all three. So if you have a healer or you do it your own, I will address root chakra because that's your legs. Actually, that's what's holding you and that heat. Sacral, solar plexus. What we're going to be doing today is solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, and womb. So you're going to get some of that. But what you would want to journal about when you feel that anxiety is what is my inner child scared of? And think for you, there is a vivid memory that's going to come up if you sit with this a little bit, like a vivid memory of when you actually felt completely restless because you were scared of something, because you were so afraid that you didn't know what to do with yourself. So just write it down. And it seems to be this lifetime, and it seems to be as a child. So it shouldn't take more than just you tapping into that to memorize, to have that memory. And let me know if that's helpful. I'm going up again in the questions. Of course, I mean, can depression and anxiety be treated with meds? Is it a Band-Aid? It can both. It is a Band-Aid because even from a naturopathic perspective, depression and anxiety, they are a sign of something is the bodies have deep depletion. So it's like the body is, it's a depletion state. Anxiety is usually B vitamin deficiency. The depression is usually B vitamin deficiency, and neurotransmitters that are not fed. 95% of the serotonin, 95% of the serotonin, which is in most meds, is made in your gut. So if your gut is in balance, if there is a threat in your gut, then you can't, your nervous system properly. So it is a band-aid, yes. Can meds help? Yes. So it can be both, meaning you can take the meds while you're treating the root cause. You don't have to suffer if it's debilitating, if you can't get out of bed, and you don't have to be ashamed of it. If it helps you to feel in the zone of presence, even if it's through a band-aid, there is a conductive state of healing that can help with getting to the root cause, that can help with understanding why is your body so out of balance. So I'm hoping I answered that. What else is up? No, Elise, you're not fucked up. What would overthinking be associated with? Definitely state of hyper, and that's crown chakra. Let's see if I have more questions. Here's how the zone of presence relate to money. I touched on it a little bit, but I'm going to go over. I'm feeling cold as the session went on. What does that mean? The AC is not on. Interesting. So Irina, knowing you, you're probably getting messages, actually. A lot of the chill type of feeling, things that are being said or received might be resonating with you, or you're getting confirmation of things. So take a note, write things down in the side. That change of temperature, unless it's very, very uncomfortable, but that chill feeling, it is usually intuition. I'm curious how the zone relate to money struggles and weight gain. Okay, so yes, that's, I don't know if you were here in the beginning of this, Eilina, but I'm gonna say this. So weight gain, the body, again, I said it in the beginning, I'm gonna say it again, the body cannot attract and cannot release when it doesn't feel safe. So if you are in that state of hypo, so not having money and being in weight gain, you are in that state of hypo. For sure. It doesn't mean your brain is not overworking, but you are in that state of hypo. Something in your metabolism doesn't feel safe enough to let go of the weight. The is a form of protection, so you don't feel safe enough. And you cannot, when you are shut down, when you're in that state of hypo and completely shut down, you cannot create. You cannot create money. You cannot attract money. You cannot receive money. All of them also are related to the womb, to the uterus space. So when I see weight gain and money struggle, I am almost sure, as a naturopath, that there is a female hormone imbalance. It doesn't matter if they didn't list it. If I know them personally and I can see that they are gaining weight and they're having money issues, I can guarantee that there is either PCOS, or there is a estrogen dominance, or there is something that is stuck in that womb energy that is preventing the weight to be released, because it doesn't feel safe to be released, and it doesn't feel safe to receive the money. Money, how much money is in your life, tells you two things. Not only how safe you are, how worthy do you think you are of money, and how open you are to receive it. So if you look around at your financial situation, you can be very happy with it. Doesn't matter how much you have. You can have $200 and be extremely happy with it. That's not who I'm talking to. I'm talking to the people who feel like they're always lack. They're always paycheck to paycheck. They're always, even if they make, I have clients that are making literally 7 figures a month, and they don't understand where is this money going. Like, what is going on? Why is it always that? Where is there a building just caught on fire and now they have to pay insurance? All of these things, it's related to two things. I'm not worthy. So I don't feel worthy enough even to be safe. How can I be worthy of money? Are you kidding me? Like, no, that's not for me. And the second one is I am not open to receive. I am so threatened. I am so scared that opening myself to money is opening myself to a threat, opening myself. And add in the blank, like could be opening myself to healing, opening myself to relationship, opening myself to anything, to support. I had someone in our last circle who said that when she receives help, she feels guilty. And she started crying and having a horrible reaction. I'm like, of course, how are you going to get help? We can do all of the healing. You can do all of the programs. If you perceive help as guilt, you will not be able to actually receive that help and grow from it. So Alina, let me know if that answered your question. That's me, like I'm to me, have I underpaid and overwhelmed, your silver estrogen dominance, perfect. Constant head pressure and swelling at third eye or throat chakra issue. I mean, I'm gonna tell you this. Is it pressure, swelling at third eye or throat chakra issue? Not only in general, head pressure and swelling is usually third eye. That's where it's like, if we can make it easy, like if you look at the chakras, that will be connection to the divine for me. So that would be third eye and crown. That would be like, how much are you letting in? How much are you connecting to your soul purpose? How much are you in your intuition? And but in you particularly, actually muscle tested it and it was third eye. So it's definitely third eye for you. And I'm gonna take a couple more questions and I'm gonna let you guys go for a break, and we're gonna come back. Shalom dopamine with no powerful food, and spending is their treatment for that. So yes, understand that. So Steph, maybe I'm gonna actually have you unmute because I want to understand, what do you fear is usually related to root chakra and sacral. Safety and fear are the most primal. That's the first thing that develop in us. We seek safety above anything. So fear is usually sacral, kidneys, water retention, extra urination. All of these are fear. They're all kidneys and they're all root chakra. So I would work with root chakra first before moving into sacral. And Steph, are you here? Can you unmute? Is she?
Yeah, I'm here.
Perfect. Can you tell me a little bit more about what you mean by your question?
Oh, I think I was reading somewhere that, like, if you can't control, you know, your overeating at night, sometimes it's not about willpower. Sometimes I think it's because you have low dopamine.
Yes.
I think that's how I understood it. So I was wondering, is there a treatment for that, or?
So is there a treatment for low dopamine?
Yeah.
Of course. But most importantly, why you have low dopamine?
I don't know what causes low dopamine.
So great question. That would be the main thing. I mean, low dopamine is not, dopamine is our arousal hormone. That's what's our excitement. It's our pleasure hormone. That's why we call it like doping. That's what addiction is what seeking the pleasure every single time we're taking something. So yes, you can take a supplement, you can take a treatment for dopamine. There is amazing supplements for GABA and dopamine and 5-HTP that all help with dopamine production in the body. But this is going back to what this is about, that hypo state. Low dopamine is caused by being stuck in a hypo stage. So when you are stuck in a hypo state, something is making you feel unsafe and making you shut down.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you.
Yes. Did we do an exercise in the beginning? What does it mean if we felt solar plexus going out? Oh, no, that's good. It means that you're breathing correctly, that you're taking all of the air in. So that's actually a good sign. That's how we wanted you all to breathe. So what we're going to do right now is actually, I know we went a little bit more on time, so we're going to have everyone just close their eyes. If you feel called to, put your hand over your heart or put your hand over your womb, whatever you feel called to. And I want you to just connect to your heartbeat. Just feel your heartbeat. And I want you to take a deep breath in and imagine that your belly is a balloon, that you're filling it up with air.
Fill it up, 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 fill it up. And slowly breathe out. Exhale out. Every single time between every breath, you just go back to your heartbeat and just feel your heartbeat. Take another deep breath in. Open, 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 open. Just connect to how your diaphragm is opening, how solar plexus is pushing out. And every single time you just push out and hold and slowly breathing out. One more time, breathing, breathing, breathing in. And just fill up this balloon, push, 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 push out. And slowly breathing out. Stay connected to your hand, either over your heart or your womb area. And I want you to connect to your crown chakra, to the top of your head. Imagine a beautiful, beautiful light, warm light connecting to the top of your head. It's touching the whole scalp. It's warming up all of your scalp. And just keep your awareness with the exhale. With every exhale, this beautiful light is relaxing every inch of the top of your head, spreading to the back of your ears, to the neck, spreading to your temples, to your forehead. Now in the next exhale, the relaxation and this beautiful light is just releasing all of the tension inside of your head. Just like a beautiful wave, washing off all of the worries from your brain. You see it just like water washing out all of the things from inside your head. Just going down and down and down your forehead. This relaxation now is hitting your eyebrows. You can feel your eyebrows relax. Feel them let go. And you can feel this relaxation and its warmth washing over your ears. You can feel all of the little muscles around your ears just relax and warm up. And move down into your nose. Inside of your nose, see with every exhale how just by breathing in, how you are just cleansing, renewing and rebirthing and just letting go of all of the waste in your body through every breath out. You can see and feel your eyes relaxing behind your eyelid. Going down and see it relaxing underneath your eyes. All of the little muscles of your face are relaxing, surrendering to the gravity. Moving down, 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 down. Feeling all of the little muscle of the cheeks. Just relaxing your lips. Your tongue is taking more space inside your mouth. You can feel this warmth and breeze energy as it's lighting up your jaw. It's also unlocking your TMJ. Start going down vertebrae by vertebrae into the back of your neck. It's also cleansing and relaxing every little part of your vocal cords, fully freeing your throat chakra from any restrictions. Allow this relaxation to spread into your collarbone, your shoulder, and the rest of your chest. until you make it to your heart. Another deep breath in, opening up your heart chakra, creating more space for this loving and relaxing energy. Form up. Keep it all the way. Expand your heart. And you are in the middle of your heart right now. And however you're feeling right this second, this is the home to your soul. This is your zone of presence. Stay there for as long as you need. I will be bringing you back shortly